Chapter 5. The Sweets Hereafter. The next day, Dorothy sat on the sofa in the living room, paging through the Miami Herald. She told the girls she was perusing the classifieds to see if anyone was selling a second-hand bookshelf for a reasonable price, as she needed another one in her bedroom. But really, she pored over the personal section, looking for anyone her age who wasn't Henry. After being abandoned at the lunch date, she licked her wounds, but told herself that he just wasn't the man for her. Though she was done with the video dating for good, that didn't mean she was done with the idea of finding someone to spend time with, or at least to bring to Nettie's wedding. Preferably someone who wouldn't leave her right at the middle of the cake cutting. Sophia played solitaire at the other end of the couch as Rose rattled dishes in the kitchen and Blanche flipped through the other sections of the morning paper from the rattan armchair. Sophia surreptitiously craned her neck every 2 minutes to peek over Dorothy's shoulder. Make sure you find a strong, good-looking one. Excuse me? Dorothy said, giving her the diminutive snooper a death glare and tilting the newspaper away from her. Her mother always had to comment on everything Dorothy did, especially her love life. You know, to hold up the books. You don't want the shelf falling under the weight of the War and Peace or whatever it is you read for fun, Sophia said with a smirk. Outside, a car horn hung to the tune of Shave and a haircut. Oh, that must be Jorgen, Blanche said, jumping to her feet and fanning herself with the Herald's coupon circular. And me not even ready to go. Dorothy looked Blanche up and down, taking in her oversized coral blazer over a matching sundress with a flounced hem. But you look lovely, Blanche. She's fully dressed, which is overdressed when a younger man is in her sights, Sophia said, grabbing her pocketbook from the coffee table. I just mean I haven't put on my perfume yet, Blanche said, rushing to her bedroom. And I don't have anyone in my sights. Jorgen is easy on the eyes, that's all. He's not the only thing that's easy, muttered Sophia before Dorothy silenced her with an eye roll. She really should talk to her mother about her outdated shaming of Blanche's healthy romantic appetite. After all, this was the 1980s, not the 1940s. Nowadays, women should be able to act as freely as men did in the dating world without anyone criticizing them. Rose emerged through the swinging door as a steam billowed out, filling the air with a toasty scent of tuna and herbs. I need 2 more minutes, she shouted, waving her oven-mitted hands in the air. Dorothy stood. Don't worry, we'll get the centerpiece and everything else loaded into the car. She picked up a shopping bag stuffed with name tags and the vintage cow-shaped butter dish that Rose insisted on bringing to the venue, as well as tourist maps of Miami and a copy of the History of St. Olaf, the collected works of Hans Christian Lukelhaven, that she intended to give to Jason's parents. Blanche emerged from her room in a cloud of poison by Dior, slung her purse over her shoulder, and picked up the modest floral arrangement comprised of cornflowers, black-eyed Susans, and other plants native to Minnesota and Florida, meant to represent the union of two families from different regions. Blanche had helped Rose put the finishing touches on it that morning, and though it was certainly colorful, it was definitely not as picture-perfect as the centerpieces they tried to copy from Ladies' Hole Journal. Blanche, Dorothy, and Sophia filed out to Jorgen's roomy rented sedan, which idled at the curb. Jorgen popped out from the driver's seat and immediately took the centerpiece from Blanche and the heavy bag from Dorothy and placed them in the trunk, and then opened the door to the back seat. You all look as beautiful as freshly milked cows in a pasture, he said, beaming at them all but letting his admiring eyes linger on Blanche. Blanche's coquettish smile disappeared as her jaw dropped. Why, I oughta, Sophia said, dropping her purse and drawing her white-gloved hands into fists, ready to spar. Dorothy laid a calming hand on her arm, hoping that none of the neighbors had seen. She'd already gotten a few phone calls from the time Sophia ran through the neighbor's sprinkler in her playtext during a heat wave. I think that's a compliment where he comes from, Dorothy whispered. He didn't mean to be rude. Remember, he's a farm boy. Think of him as a junior male version of Rose. Sophia slowly lowered her dukes, the slump of her shoulders hinting at her disappointment that she wasn't going to have a chance to use them. Well, he shouldn't act like he was raised in a barn, she grumbled. He probably was, Ma, Dorothy said, gently leading Sophia to the car. They climbed in, and Jorgen took Blanche's hand. Oh, I'll ride up front with you, Blanche cooed, stepping into the passenger seat as Rose scurried out the door and down the walkway to the car with a casserole dish in her hands. Jorgen settled Rose into the sedan on the other side of Sophia, then handed her the casserole dish. As they drove down Richmond Street, passing well-kept ranch houses and palm trees, the car filled with the aroma of tuna. Could you crack a window? Sophia asked Dorothy. It smells just like home, Jorgen chirped from the driver's seat. Is that Schmorkerstarter? It's my favorite tuna souffle, Rose said with a note of pride in her voice. The Bryants offered to handle the catering, but I just couldn't trust them to get the souffle right, so I made it myself. Is that why you made the tuna salad sandwiches ahead of time too, Blanche said. She'd gone with Rose the day before to drop several trays of miniature crustless sandwiches off at the hotel, along with a fleet of cheesecake so they could be refrigerated overnight before the tea. Rose had been a little nervous when they handed over the trays to the hotel staff, who had quickly ferried them into the hotel and out of sight. The two women had parted ways when Rose met up with Nettie and Jason. Blanche and Jorgen ran wedding errands on the other side of town. It had been far past Rose's bedtime when Jorgen had finally dropped Blanche off at home late that night. No, they could probably get my tuna salad right if they followed the recipe, Rose said, but Grandmother Lindstrom would arise from her watery grave and kill me if I ever shared her secret ingredient. The girls shared a knowing look as they braced for a new St. Olaf story, but Rose had trailed off, quickly adding a few words to a list balanced on top of the casserole dish. I'm not even going to ask, Dorothy said, but I'm sure it all will be delicious. She knew how important today was for Rose. This was the first official meeting of the families, the Bryant family on the groom's side and the St. Olaf contingent from the bride's side. It was obvious that Rose wanted to make a great first impression from the care she took with every single detail, such as the hand calligraphy on the name tags, the fussing over her outfit and hairstyling, and making sure that there were plenty of St. Olaf touches in the food and decorations. Dorothy was glad that she and the others had pledged to help out in any way Rose needed, including keeping the conversations flowing between the two families. She had a feeling they'd need to. "I'm just so nervous," Rose said, pinching at the tinfoil edges of the casserole dish as the sedan rolled through the city, heading into the direction of the Miami beach. "What if something goes wrong? You've planned every detail out to a T and put a lot of thought into it." Blanche turned toward the back seat to reassure Rose. "Maybe the most thought you put into anything," Sophia said. "It's going to be a lovely event," Dorothy added to smooth over Sophia's comment in case Rose took it the wrong way. "Everything will be just fine." Jorgen drove down Collins Avenue, passing hotels and restaurants and the occasional palm tree. He pulled the sedan up a semicircular drive to the Cabana Sun Hotel, a cream-colored building accented with borders of teal and coral, an Art Deco wedding cake bathed in brilliant Miami sunshine. He parked under the portico awning and then helped each woman exit the car. Laden with bags and the casserole dish, he followed the three women through the revolving doors to the hotel lobby, a stylish space with the marble black and white tile floors, soaring columns, and artful arrangements of pink and white blooms. Every surface was polished to a glossy sheen, except for the teal settees and tufted velvet surrounding a small fountain of carved sea turtles and dolphins. "It's a lot fancier than I expected," Sophia said, gawking up at the ceiling, which was painted with a scene of cherubs frolicking among the fluffy clouds and palm fronds. Just then a woman in a yellow sundress crossed the lobby ahead of them, holding a poofy white dog wearing a matching yellow ribbon around its neck. "It's like the love child of the Sixtine Chapel in the Copacabana." "I'm surprised they allow dogs in here," Dorothy mused, taking it all in. "Don't worry, Dorothy, I called ahead to get permission for you," Sophia said. "Stuff it, Ma," Dorothy said, clenching her fists inside her blazer pockets. "Why do you always need to be so mean? Did you put on your adult diapers on backwards today?" After getting a roll of verbal punch-in, Dorothy decided she wouldn't let her mother ruin her mood. Yes, she was still dateless for Nettie's wedding, but there were a few days left to find someone new to bring. They were here to support Rose, and that's what she'd focus on. As the girls and Jorgen made their way to the check-in counter, a 30-something woman with strong brows and sky-high cheekbones stepped from behind the desk, her white business suit cinched at the waist with a wide gold leather belt. Her permed ash blonde hair fell in perfect spirals to her padded shoulders, and Dorothy noted the tasteful French manicure on her long oval nails as she extended her hand to Rose. "You must be the Midwestern in-laws," the woman purred, shaking Rose's hand while simultaneously casting an appreciative glance at Jorgen. "Are you Jason's sister?" Rose asked. "Yes, Jason's my brother. I'm Patricia, the general manager of the Cabana Sun Hotel. I cover housekeeping, food and beverage, you name it." "Oh yes, we spoke on the phone," Rose said warmly, wrapping Patricia in a slightly awkward hug. "So glad to meet you in person, and thank you for welcoming us to your beautiful hotel." "It's no trouble at all," Patricia smiled, gently disentangling herself from Rose's arms. "As I said on the phone, we're planning to host the whole wedding here." Just as Rose was about to reply, Jorgen stepped forward. "I'm Jorgen," he beamed. "You look just like Brooke Shields." Patricia stifled a laugh. "Nice to meet you, Jorgen. Jason told me you're the best man." "I don't know about best," he said, blushing, "but I'm pretty good." Rose gestured to her friends and introduced them one by one. Blanche leaned over to whisper in Dorothy's ear. "I could smell a fake tan and surgical enhancements from a mile away." Dorothy nodded in agreement. Patricia's measurements seemed very close to those of another leggy blonde's. Barbie's. But a true gentleman prefers something real to grab onto. Blanche sniffed as she straightened her posture to show off her unique assets. "Let's hope at least some of them do," Dorothy whispered back. Even though Blanche always seemed so confident and in touch with her own sensuality, Dorothy could hear the note of insecurity in her voice. Dating after a certain age, or at any age, wasn't easy on anyone. Patricia led the group through the hotel, pointing left and right. "Here's the concierge desk, over there are the elevators, the pool is that way along with the bar, and we have a cigar club room with a humidor. That was my husband Chip's idea, and it's been a huge hit, only the best for our guests." Patricia led the girls and Jorgen to a corridor off the side of the lobby. "The kitchens are back here," she said. "I'll have some of the staff help you set up on the patio by the pool since we have perfect weather today." "That would be lovely," Rose said, hurrying to keep up with Patricia's long-legged stride. "And are the mother and father of the groom here yet?" "My parents will be down in a minute. We had some international VIPs check in this morning, and as owners of the hotel, they wanted to personally welcome them to the presidential suite." "Ooh, VIPs," Blanche piped up from behind them. "Who are they? Do tell." "Most of our guests expect complete privacy," Patricia said in a officious tone, "and I'm the soul of discretion." Then she cracked a wicked smile. "But I can tell you that we recently had Gloria Estefan's cousin stay with us for a week, and Philip Michael Thompson and Don Johnson have been known to frequent our cigar room." "I love Miami Vice," Rose said with a starstruck grin. "We're planning to expand next year," Patricia said, her spike heels clacking on the marble flooring. "If we can get that rundown building next door. Then we can build an indoor pool and double our room count. Chip wants to add a nightclub." International VIPs and television actors were a far cry From the small-town, farm-centric world of St. Olaf, Dorothy thought as Patricia directed them down a long corridor. She hoped for Rose's sake that the two families would find some common ground this week. The group pushed through two wide swinging doors to a room that was partially under construction, with raw plywood cabinets and stainless steel fixtures. "Sorry for the mess. We're mid-renovation," Patricia said, gesturing to the fresh sheetrock and a few visible wires hanging from the ceiling. "Our previous kitchen could only handle a basic room service menu, so this expansion and overhaul is long overdue." The Bryants must be doing very well for themselves, Dorothy thought, with all this renovation work and their plans for expansion. Rose looked warily around the half-finished kitchen. "Are my sandwiches still here? And the cheesecake?" "Yes, they're in the industrial freezer towards the back, but you can use this to get set up." Patricia pointed to a wide butcher block table, upon which Jorgen deposited the heavy armloads he'd been carrying. "We'll serve everything on the patio. Those tables should already be set up, and I'll flag down Jose and Fred to bring out any servingware you need." "Oh, thank you," Rose said. "But before you run off, here, I have name tags." Rose passed a sticker with the name Patricia written out, slightly uneven calligraphy. Patricia held it carefully by one edge, as if Rose had handed her a loose sardine. "I'm not sure I should put this on," Patricia said. "My blouse is silk." Rose's face fell, and Patricia quickly recovered, tucking the name tag onto a pocket of her blazer. "But it's a nice thought. I'll make sure to introduce myself to everyone from the St. Olaf branch of the family." "St. Olaf," Rose corrected. "Of course," Patricia said. "And my apologies. I have just so much in my mind with managing the hotel, Chip's ideas to expand the business, and now Jason's wedding. It's amazing I remember anything." "I know just how you feel," Sophia chimed in. "Ma, that's because you're older than George Burns when he played God," Dorothy said. "If her mother could dish it out, she should be able to take a few digs herself. I'm going to flag down Jose and Fred for you. If you need any other help setting up, the front desk can page me," Patricia said, sweeping out of the kitchen the swirl of Jovan musk and Aquanet. Blanche fanned her nose dramatically with her hand. "Oh, she's certainly a lot to handle." "A tall glass of cream," Jorgen murmured. "They don't wear heels that high in St. Olaf." "I asked them to put everything in the fridge, not the freezer," Rhodes said wearily. "But I suppose beggars can't be choosers. They have been very generous to offer us the use of their elegant facilities." "That's the right attitude," Dorothy said. "Do you have any idea how much it would cost to rent a venue like this?" "I can guess," Sophia said. "Probably enough to buy her an even bigger set of—" She gestured to her chest. "Ma, please, we have more important things at hand. We have to get the food defrosted and set up the decorations before the wedding guests arrive," Dorothy said. "That's right," Rose said. "If we take everything out now, it should be ready in time." She headed to the other end of the kitchen with the two large stainless steel doors set side by side, one with a wooden chair wedged against the handle. "That's odd," Rose frowned. "Jorgen, can you move that for me?" Jorgen tugged on the chair to the side, and Rose pulled open the freezer door. An array of cheesecakes gleamed on chest-high racks next to the neat trays of sandwiches. As she stepped forward to pull out the first tray, her foot hit something icy and hard. Then Rose looked down and screamed.